Edvard Grieg is best known for his eternally popular piano concerto in A minor, as well as more than 150 songs and 66 lyric pieces. March of the Trolls is from the lyric piece, Opus 54. Trolls are a constant theme in Norwegian folklore and can be viewed as the equivalent of our boogeyman. Far to the north of Norway, where the winter storms whip the weather-beaten coasts, you will find dark forests with moonlit lakes and deep fjords surrounded by mighty snow-capped mountains. This is where you might find the irritable, short-tempered troll. Another outstanding composition by Robert Sheldon, A Longford Legend, showcases the styles from Irish street ballads and the Celtic culture. It was commissioned by the Normal Community West High School Band, Normal, Illinois, and is based on 3 poems found in a collection of Irish street ballads. Written in 3 movements, A Longford Legend is a tribute to the wonderful band literature of Granger, Holst, and Vaughan Williams. Traditionally held, audience applause between movements. Please hold until the final movement is performed. Will you welcome, please, the Krimmel Intermediate School Symphonic Band and conductor, Chris McKee.
Second.
John Philip Sousa completed Belle of Chicago on July 23, 1892, 1 week before his discharge from the Marine Corps. After his discharge, Sousa formed his own civilian band based in Chicago. Sousa intended this piece to be a salute to the women of Chicago, but the composition was soundly criticized. One writer stated, "Mr. Sousa evidently regards the Chicago belle as a powerful creature with the swinging stride of a giant, a voice like a foghorn, and feet like sugar-cured hams." The march outlived its criticism and remains popular today. Sousa added his own enhanced musical nuances and alterations in order to give his performances a unique and exciting character. Arranger Frank Byrne conducted research combining early editions as well as performance notes from members of Sousa's band in order to create an authentic, musically accurate arrangement of this renowned march. Will you welcome, please, the Krimmel Intermediate School Symphonic Band and conductor, Chris McKee. Pursuit of the Centaur brings a legend to life with a musical adventure that has imaginations racing. Centaurs are mythological creatures, half horse and half human, depicted as wild beasts and also as wise and noble beings. This thrilling musical representation embarks on a dramatic journey to find one of these remarkable creatures in a land and time long past. Will you welcome, please, the Krimmel Intermediate School Symphonic Band and conductor, Lily Arnold.
How about these kids, right? I tell them all the time, you guys are, y'all are the best kids in the school. And we also have in the audience here a lot of the best parents in the school too. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And just real quick, just wait, how many of y'all are Clem intermediate parents who are here for the Krimmel concert, right? How many of y'all are out there, right? And how? Right? And how many Krimmel parents were here early to see the Clem performance? With great parents and great students, it makes running a trip like this actually very, very simple for the director. I mean, about as simple as it can be, but when you have that, people ask me all the time, is there anything you're worried about, anything on your mind? And after today, I don't really have any worries about the trip because I actually fit into my suit. So that was I don't know if y'all have seen the Cleveland show where there's that episode where he wears the little skin hugging like Tommy Tucker. That's how I feel. It hurts, and hopefully we don't experience what happened at the end of that episode. If you've seen it. Anyways, I just wanted to say again, like, how great these students are, and, we always sell, like, how music is just this fun thing. Band is fun. It's just so much fun. And it's actually not true, right? It's frustrating sometimes. It's boring sometimes. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do to get better. Sometimes it's inconvenient because you have to show up to things like sectionals, extra rehearsals, right? It's inconvenient at times, but anything that's inconvenient is worthwhile, right? Or anything that's worthwhile is inconvenient, I should say it that way. Because for something that is going to be frustrating, provide obstacles, that's going to require extra time, it's worthwhile. You're willing to put up with the parts that aren't fun so that you get to do the rewarding part after, right? And these kids, these Krimmel kids, Kleb kids, they've done so much hard work this year. They've done such a good job. They now get to enjoy the fun part and go on this trip.
Curtain Call takes on new life in a concert band arrangement. This arrangement features each section of the band and includes flashy and busy percussion parts. Conceived as a tribute to all the great finales, encores, and reprises written for the stage, Curtain Call is an energetic flag waver. Closing out our concert this evening, will you please welcome to the stage one more time the Krimmel Intermediate School Symphonic Band and conductor, Chris McKee.
It's too late for that.
Be positive. Actually, if I go next week, I would have been able to take the
Thank you all for coming out this evening.